On the agenda for today, release preparations. Now, the first thing you guys should do with respect to these preparations is actually getting your own graphical resources, because you obviously don't want all the Litecoin stuff in there. Now, I'm not going to be actually making them on screen because I'm really just not qualified and it would also take a while. But I will show you where everything you need to find and replace is. So let's start. First, you're going to go to Share and Pix Maps. And yeah, as you can see, I'm also not qualified to show you how to do this. This is the extent of my graphical powers. But anyway, in this folder you see the different sizes of icons in both PNG and XPM format. Make sure you get both of those. You also have some of the other icons that appear in the coin. Also, these right here, these are the actually images that would appear in the Windows install wizard. I could actually never get these to work, but they're good to do anyway. And then going back to the main directory, you're going to go to src, qt, res. First we'll go to icons, and here's some more icons that appear in the client. Here you have the .icos. If you're not aware, a .ico is kind of it's a special file that contains a bunch of images of different resolutions. That they're the same image, but they're in different resolutions for an icon. I'll give you links to make links that would to tools that make making all these sorry about that making all these really easy in the description. For a .ico maker, PNG to XPN, all that good stuff, or XPM and all that good stuff. And you've also got .icns here. .icns is kind of like a .ico but for Mac, and since I'm not going to be doing Mac in this tutorial, you don't really have to worry about it. Of course, I did one anyway, as you can see. And then we move on to res images, and here's where you see these splash images that appear when you actually start your coin, and also this appears in the about screen. But you'll notice that there are counterparts for both the mainnet and testnet. I didn't make any different ones. The only exception is I did make a different one for the splash. But otherwise, mine are the same. It's I decided it wouldn't be worth the effort. I'm that lazy. But of course, you can do whatever you like, and also change out any other icons you want. But the key to there's really no set way of doing this. All you need to do is just make sure that these sizes and formats are the same. So, for example, let's see here. Go back to share real quick. Pix Maps. Yeah. So, for example, for Bitcoin 64.png, if it's not 64 by 64 and not a .png, it's not going to work. So make sure you do that, and just go through all these folders, the three folders that I mentioned, because that's where all the graphical resources are going to be, and just swap out everything you want, and you'll be good. Okay, and moving on. Actually, before I do move on, I'm going to show you what the client looks like after making all those changes, if the thing wants to cooperate. Okay. There's my amazing splash image. You can see here the icon to the left and the toolbar image. Really not that exciting, but hey, it works, so that's good. So no Litecoin stuff in here. Close that because I don't need it anymore. And then moving on, the next thing we're going to do is correct the copyright notices. So I'm sure you noticed that when we start the thing, I'll do it again just to show you. Some little copyright things appear here, and obviously the second one is just a terrible lie. So if we're making a release, we should really change that. And there are actually four files we're gonna edit to change that. First, I'm gonna open up my trusty cheat sheet because I will need that. And just as always, I will put everything I'm using in the cheat sheet in a paste bin, which will be linked in the description. So moving on, first thing we're going to do is we'll get back to our coins directory first. Okay, we're going to go to first about dialog.cpp, which is in src qt, and here it is about dialog.cpp. Open that up, go back to full screen, and line 11 we're going to fix. Memory serves it's line 11. No wait, it was line 22. Sorry, line 22. Here is line 22, and I'm actually just going to copy and paste something from my cheat sheet in here. So here we are. copy. This is line 22, just making sure. And paste. And now you notice we added this at the end. Now, you're obviously going to go and put whatever you want to show up in the copyright notice here. For me, I'm just doing Funcoin Developer, and this is the year that you're specifying. I'm doing this at the tail end of 2017, so there's that, and that's it for this file. Save. And moving on. Next, we're going to splashscreen.cpp, which is also in this file. Here it is. And this one's probably the most involved one. So first, we're going to go here, and at line 22, we're going to add the following. Int line 4 equals 39. Wow. I really can't type today. Anyway, the next thing is fixing line 30 and adding line 31. So this happened when we did the find and replace way back when. And we're going to turn that back to the Litecoin. And then right below, we're going to add another line, which is also in my glorious cheat sheet. So line 31, this is going to be this guy. Same thing as before, just adding my own notice in here. I think I just indented twice, but whatever. And there we go, simple as that. Same thing with the year. And next up in this file is fixing line 48. And we fix that simply by doing this. So instead of ending at line 3, it's going to be ending at line 4. Done. And we're going to add line 54. So again, glorious cheat sheet. This one's fortunately going to be the same for you. So you can just copy and paste this one directly. And where did I put line 54? And that is over here. Copy. Paste. And done. Save. Okay, there are 2 more files we need to do. The next one is in src, qt, scroll up, res, and it's this one right here, bitcoinqt.rc. Okay, and we're going to line 11. So that's what line 11 is. And again, I'm just going to copy and paste the correct line. So line 11 is going to be this guy. And just like everything else, we're preserving the Litecoin developers while adding our own. So take line 11, paste, there we go. Easy as pie. This is you know, the correct year and what you're putting in right after this string over here. Save, and there is one more, and that is in src qt forms, and it's about dialog.ui. This one doesn't open with gedit by default, so we have to go to open with gedit. Okay, and we are going to line 94. Okay, 94, which is this guy right here. And so same thing, copying, replacing. Going to go back to my cheat sheet, and below line 94, we're actually going to overwrite one of the lines. We're overwriting line 95 with these 2 guys. So we do this, and then we paste. So we fixed the Litecoin bit and added our own. I mean, we did the same thing in all 4 files. And then once again, remember to add your own stuff instead of Funcoin, because your coin is not going to be as fun as mine. Save. Alright, and that's it as far as the copyrights are concerned. Now the next thing we're going to do is add a hard-coded seed node if we have one. So if you will recall, back in video 2, we deleted a gigantic array of, I think it's actually 600 hard-coded seed nodes. And that's one of the ways the client has of finding peers when it first comes online. So we want to do that so that when someone new plays with your coin, they're not going to have to add anything in a configuration file or through the command line to connect to the network. It will do it automatically. Of course, you're going to need a node first. So say you have a node set up and you have an IP address to the node. And by the way, a node is just the client, but it's operating in a server mode and it's accepting connections. In my previous video, the clone was the node, just so that you have an idea of what they are. So I'm going to go back to my glorious cheat sheet, and I will get the Perl script that I need in order to get this IP address in the correct format. And if you needed reminding, this will be in the paste bin. So copy the entire script, and now I need to put it into a file. So I'm just going to go to my desktop, new document, ip.perl. Now open it and paste in the script and save it. And I'm going to make sure I'm in my desktop and then do perl, ip.perl. And now you enter a dotted quad IP address. This is the format that you almost always see IPv4 addresses in. Also note that unfortunately this version of Litecoin does not support IPv6, so if you don't have any sort of IPv4 address for your node, you are out of luck. I'll just be entering 127.0.0.1. You know, if you don't know, that's synonymous with localhost. This won't actually work, but just to show you what you enter, press enter, and it'll spit out the correct the IP address in the correct format. So I'll copy this bit, and I will go to funcoin src net.cpp and go to line, I believe it is 1228. Indeed it is. And so here's the seed node with the 0x0 that we put in there earlier, and I'm just going to replace the 0 with the IP address. And now if you have multiple nodes, you just separate them by a comma. That's super tricky, but I only have one. So yeah, if you only have one, there's no comma, just leave it like that and save it. Oh, and also as a small heads up, this is the last thing that a client would usually try for connecting to the network. So when you first start up a new client, it'll actually take a couple of minutes to use this information. Don't worry about it, that's completely normal. Alright, and then next up is changing our Gideon descriptors. So I mentioned in the last video that you're going to need a GitHub account for cross compilation. So I'm actually not going to make one and upload the repository on screen, because there's just a lot of ways of going about doing it. I'm assuming if you've made it this far, you are indeed capable of using Google and can figure out how to set up a GitHub repository yourself. You're just going to turn your coin's main directory into the repository. I'll link to funcoins in the description just so that you know what it's supposed to look like. And once you've done that, we're going to go to funcoin contrib Gideon descriptors, and we're going to start with gideon.yml. There's only one thing we're changing in here, and that's the URL right here. So again, this is incorrect. It was affected when we did the search and replace. So this first bit here is just your GitHub account name. That's mine. And then the second part is the repository name with git at the end, and this is going to be my repository name. So this is already okay, funcoin.git. And I will save that. And now I'm going to get in 132.yml, same exact thing. Fixed. Okay, and now as always, you should always do a test compilation before you continue with anything else. Alright, and now if you complete your test compilation, you start up your client, everything is working the way you want it to, you know, all the graphical resources are doing okay, everything else is good, make sure, double check, make sure everything else is good. You are good to proceed onto video 6, where as I hinted at earlier, it is by quite a long shot the hardest part of this whole thing, Windows cross compilation, when we finally make our release that you can share it with everyone. So yeah, fun times will be ahead, and real quick I will show you what the new splash screen will look like. Yep, and there it is. Yay! I will see you in video 6.